So this is the goat. This has got the handles. Again, you can use the foot or the handholds. The big key to this is when you're climbing up the roof, when you get close to the top, don't be pulling up on it because you will pull this off of it. And don't let it swing side to side. That's kind of back to where I said, don't get on this goat like this, because what'll happen is you will kick it over and now it's done it. So when you're on this goat, if you're on it, you are on the goat. You're riding that goat going this way. See, that's where you got the pitch hopper, that's where you use the goat, or that's where you ladder the whole thing. Or you just reach up and put them up there. Hey, for me and Dan to see somebody that's taller than us is not usually usual. How tall are you, Paul? 6'7". Yeah. What an inch does, right? It makes it. Now you feel like what these short guys looking up us at. Like.
Usually when I see Jason, I'm like, good Lord, he's tall. And then you walk down, I'm like, oh my God, like, is this how people feel looking at me? Like, wow, it hurts. How do you find pants that are long enough? To protect them.
And if you're not comfortable on a roof, that's okay. You know, usually I would tell you fear is bad, but on roofs, fear is good, right? You never walk backwards on a roof because you might fall. Always pay attention to where the lights are. Always pay attention to where your surroundings are.
Always pay attention to where your feet are. A lot of times, so.
You can, but it's one. So here's the thing about that, right? Because that's a good question about OSHA and that. So you're allowed 15 minutes to get up to the peak and back down. But in 15 minutes, I usually can get up one side and back down the other side. So that's how that gets away without having to have a harness on. But if you're not comfortable, then put a harness on. But no, you just got to be from one side to the other, because then I'm going to be going over on this side. So here's the thing, right? Let's look at this. So let's say I put let's say this has a roof come down. I know it doesn't, but it's going to be easier. Let's say it has a roof here, and I anchor right here. If I'm over here and I fall off, what's going to happen? I'm going to be pedaling. I'm going to be right on the ground. Right? Because even on an anchor system, or I am tied off with it, they have the bungees that break to slow your fall down. That's usually 6 feet is what that is. So if I'm over here, I'm gonna swing and I'm gonna fall down right here anyway, and I'm gonna be dead anyway. So it's important that even if we are harnessed, doesn't mean that we're gonna be able to do this to a point where I can do the whole thing being harnessed, if that makes sense. Because if this is steep, where am I gonna put my anchor at? And if I'm trying to get this here, and this roof isn't steep at all, right? You can do a bucket test. Yeah, probably. But does everybody understand what the steepness of the roof is? So if a roof is, if I take this roof here, right, and I measure in 12 inches, and if this roof is like so, if I measure in 12 inches and I measure up 12 inches, what steep of a roof is that? A 12-12, right? If I measure in 12 inches and it's only 6 feet up or 6 inches up, what's that pitch? 612. So on a 612, right, you can usually do a bucket test. If I put a bucket up there and it doesn't fall over, it's usually 612. If it's steeper than that and it falls over, then it means it's steeper than that. So again, if you're not comfortable on roofs, don't get on a roof. That's my first rule for everybody. And here's the thing. We did a class up in Michigan and the guy was doing this, trying to get these bulbs up there. That is not safe. He is not comfortable. He is scared to death, literally scared to death. And so he stayed in business and he did well his first year. And DJ was that when he first started. But as he got started, as he got up on the pitch hopper, you got easier and easier, and it made it happen to be able to do that. So that's kind of how this works with this roof here.
The 15-minute rule that you mentioned, going from there to there,
Yeah.
How does it, and then are you allowed, do you have another 15 minutes then to do?
Yeah, that's the thing. You're never going to be able to technically be able to do this from a safety harness from it and being 100% safe at that point. You do that, yes, when you're doing your training.
When they come for the interview, they sign a waiver. We pay them for the time that they spend here doing that, because we are doing training and we're doing some work. So I will pre-arrange with them. If it's going to be 2 hours, I'll pay them for 2 hours. I'll pay them $40 or whatever. So we'll bring in anywhere from 5 to 8 guys at a time.
Yeah, because some of them aren't even going to show up.
Half or more aren't going to show up.
And when they get to see what they have to do, they're going to leave.
And then probably probably out of the 4 that do show up, 2 of them are going to be like, yeah, no, I'm not going to climb up there. Or they get up there and they're like, oh no, I'm getting back down. So then they go home. So then you're down to 2 guys that you're working with for those couple hours. And usually you have to do that a couple times to get somebody that you feel comfortable putting on the roof.
So I would bring 10 people in because you're not going to hire 10 people. And we're not scheduling them like you're at this time, we're doing them all at one time. Because if you do like you're at 9, you're at 10, you're at 11, you're going to be sitting there all day and nobody's going to show up for you.
Yeah, we did that the first year that we hired, and like literally we had days where we would just have no productivity because the entire day nobody showed up for the review. Even after calling the day before, confirming, sending a message out there and saying I'm on my way.
Yes.
They didn't show up. Yeah, so we have some friends and we have some customers that we've made arrangements with that we either comp them service or discount service or whatever it's going to be able to do that at that instance.
So question is, when you run this, are you saying the idea is do one part first and come down, or is it still
You're up on the roof the whole time. The ground guy is lifting them up. So on this house, right, we're going to run our power cord to here, right, up and around the door. Now, are we going to stop it right here, or are we going to run it all the way up to that next roof? We're going to run it all the way up to that next roof, right? And so what are we going to put in right here? An inline female with a male on this one, right? And so that's going to put it there. And then what are we going to put at the end of that one? The line going up, what's going to be at the end of it? A female. And then what's the line coming on this one? A male. And so that's how this house will be lit. So we'll stay on this lower side here. So just like we said, stay back if you can. Just get a couple bulbs in so you get a feel of it. We'll probably won't pull them all down. We'll let one person put 2 or 3 bulbs in, and somebody, you can come over here and put 2 or 3 bulbs in, so that way you kind of get the feel of what it is, and then we'll just work our way up and over. So when everybody, the next group can put 3 or 4 bulbs in, and then 3 or 4 bulbs in. You tell me bugs are gonna bite me down here. I know. I can't believe how grass is green as grass is down here.
The other thing that we do on peaks, and I think Jason mentioned this earlier, is we'll actually cut this clip if it's a tight peak. This is probably going to be a tight peak.
It's not a tight
It's
peak,
not.
no.
I was going to say it used to be, but
No, we shouldn't.
a few years of it. So what we'll do is we'll actually cut kind of a notch in the clip, and I'll let you guys look at this, so that we can split that peak.
And this is if you care about peaks. Like I said, this is, you will be told you're a professional or not. I don't care. I know people that do it. I know people that don't. I'm going to show you the picture that made $100 million and it's got missing peaks.
If you have to put one in the peak and it's a tight peak and you don't have the slack to go either side of it,
Right.
you can split it like that.
And the good thing about this is
So it'll go
this will not
on
be
either side.
Wow.
It's not going to tear that peak shingle. And then if you need to, you can put a clip on either side of this to hold it in place to make it more secure, so that it doesn't come down, because you don't want to come back for a callback.
And the good thing about this too with the peak is now you know where the peak bulb is when you do to go. Now you got an eye. Now you know where the peak bulb is.
Yeah, so my guys are trained that when they're installing, they'll mark the peak bulb, because we do put peak bulbs in. So the way that they'll install is they'll pull them to the top, they'll put the peak bulb in, go down one side, come back up. On their way back, they'll come down the other side, but they put a zip tie on the peak bulb.
And here's the thing too, right? When you do peak bulbs and worry about peak bulbs, now we're doing things that on sketchy roofs, now we're on that roof twice.
Yep.
This is
And
what happens
that's
when you do peak bulbs.
right,
Here you go, damaged roof, right here from somebody else.
right.
One right here.
And so now
Worry
we're,
about peak bulbs, there you go, don't do them.
and again, it's up.
That's another one. And here's another one. Peak bulbs, roof are damaged. Water's going down in their house, it's going in their house. Don't do them.
So, and some people, and especially in the groups, they love to be like, you're not a professional. Well, is that a professional right there tearing up someone's house? Because water getting down in there and getting mold in that house, that's a $50,000 fix then at that point, right? And then it really comes from pulling it down. When you go to pull it down, that's when it comes from. See, here's some more peak bulbs. But here's the thing: if you didn't document, it probably came from a peak bulb.
Yeah, I document damage on the roof all the time.
Yeah.
So if we were to,
Multiple shingles.
I was talking
and
to a
no
customer in this house,
granules on it.
I would get an idea.
And
of
nobody
what
had been up there
exactly
since they've
they're
been road.
You guys said you wanted 2 front peaks.
Yeah, well, he had
You want this
15 year.
gutter
Go
line
back,
on the front,
right.
Because some people will, some people won't.
Because you can't see this front porch here.
If this was the main way into the
Then they would
neighborhood,
want, yeah, right.
then somebody's going to see it. So
Yeah, he had it.
the main way into our neighborhood is that side, so they might want that side of the house done.
Right.
Or if they don't like their neighbors, they might want this so it shines in their window all night or whatever. So like we ask them, hey, we're looking at the front of your house. Do you want the peaks done? Do you want the gutter section over the front porch done? What about the gutters going down the side?